My husband slept with our son's girlfriend, and now I'm the one being blamed for it. I'm not even sure where to start, and honestly, I've been sitting in my kitchen for the past 2 hours just staring at the table. I think my brain still hasn't caught up with what's happening. A few days ago, I thought the biggest problem in our house was the dishwasher making weird noises. Now I can't even look at my husband without wanting to scream. My name's Amanda. I'm 45, been married to Mark for 20 years this fall. We live in a quiet neighborhood in Michigan, nothing fancy, just regular middle-class suburbia with lawns, BBQs in the summer, and nosy neighbors who pretend they're not listening when you fight on the porch. We have one son, Jake. He's 17 and has always been a good kid. Bit shy, but smart, funny in that dry, sarcastic way. He started dating Lily about a year ago. She's 18, senior in high school, same as Jake. At first, I thought she was a little too bubbly, the kind of girl who smiles too hard and takes selfies at funerals, but she was polite, and Jake liked her, so that was enough for me. They were inseparable. She was over at our place constantly, movie nights, dinners, even helping decorate the Christmas tree. Mark and I would joke that we were basically raising a second teen. I let her borrow my sweaters. She even called me Mom once or twice, though I told her not to. I didn't mind, it felt nice. Inclusive. Family-wide. But then about 2 months ago, things started changing. It began small. Lily started declining invitations to dinner. Sorry, Mom. Too much homework. Then nothing. Jake's face would fall when I asked why she wasn't around. He tried playing it cool. She's fine, Mom. Finals and stuff. But his voice cracked. I knew. The dynamic shifted. I chalked it up to teenage drama. Hormones, stress, yada yada. But at the same time, Mark began pulling away too. Late nights at the office. He's an accountant. Tax season excuses still lingering. He began going to the gym 3 times a week. New clothes. A different cologne. I asked once, "Everything okay?" He shrugged. "Just some new means to feel good." Still, I told myself it was normal, maybe healthy. I didn't panic. Not yet. Then, on Thursday night, that changed. I was cleaning the living room, searching for the Roku remote that our toddler self used to grab, when I saw Mark's tablet peek out from between the couch cushions, like it was hiding. He never leaves it there. I frowned, but went to pick it up. As I reached for the charging cord, it lit up. Unlocked, open. A chat notification from Lily Two Hearts stared at me. "Last night was amazing. I keep thinking about your hands." My heart twisted. I looked at the preview, fought disbelief. I thought, maybe she's in my contacts. Another Lily? No. The heart icon. The preview sounded doubtlessly intimate. So I opened it, and hell broke loose. The conversation thread led to photos, snapshots of dim bedrooms, silhouettes in tension, voice notes of whispered names. 2 months of messages, playlists they shared, references to our little getaways and hotel weekends. I could barely read. Panicked tears blurred the screen. Worst of all, messages in Jake's voice. "Tell him good night for me." That hit hardest. A message she sent him directly. I snapped, shut the app, shoved the tablet into the cushion like I'd never touched it, and bolted upstairs. Jake was in bed already. He'd come down earlier, nervously avoiding eye contact, but he'd fallen asleep by the time I stumbled in. I stripped the sheets off, went to the bathroom, splashed water on my face. My hand shook so badly I cut myself opening the faucet. I used the sleeve of my nightgown to wipe away tears and curl into a trembling mess. Sleep didn't come. I lay there, listening to Mark's breathing down the hall, trying to decide what to do. Confront him? Confront Jake? Nurse my own shattered heart? Friday morning, we pretended everything was normal. I made pancakes, effered them too thick. I carefully asked Jake about anatomy tests. He didn't ask about me. He looked at me, but only for a moment. Mark smiled, that familiar half-lip curl, and said, "Great sleeping." I forced a small grin. Sure. I wrapped the tablet in its case and buried it in my desk drawer. I can't look at it again. I need to save some part of innocence. I drove Jake to school. He barely spoke. Riley, his friend, was in the car too, rambly and normal. I smiled at Riley, enough to voice those perfectly mother words. "Hey, buddy." He replied, "Hey, Mrs. Thompson." I thought, Jessica, stop pretending. I spent the weekend on autopilot. 2 loads of laundry. Cleaned the gutters. Mowed the lawn to ease my racing thoughts. I half-watched old episodes of Jeopardy, while my mind replayed all the signs I ignored. Lily's 2 long hugs. Mark's sudden gym obsession. By Sunday evening I realized, if I'm wrong, if there's some innocent explanation, I just destroyed my family with silent panic. And if I'm right, I have no idea what to do. I snapped, I came down the stairs and asked, "Did you ever cheat on me?" He laughed like I was joking. I waited. Didn't crack. But he didn't say anything else. Instead, he changed the subject and walked to the kitchen. I backed off. Cold coffee lay on the table. It wasn't mine. How do you live with knowing something so horrific? Loving someone so deeply, and finding they shattered your entire world? Now I'm stuck. Waiting. Wondering if Jake hasn't noticed things, or if he's repressing a betrayal worse than mine. Wondering if Lily has lied directly to his face, maybe even to mine. If there's a chance someone will own up, maybe apologize. And most of all, afraid of what I'll do if they don't. I haven't told Jake. I can't. Not yet. I need to be sure. I need to know it's real before I blow our whole life up. Part of me still wants to believe there's some other explanation, that it's all just a huge misunderstanding. But deep down, I know better. And I'm terrified of what comes next. I didn't sleep that Sunday night. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, watching the soft shadows crawl across the walls as the night moved into morning. I listened to the house breathing, Jake's soft snores down the hall, the quiet creaks of old wood in the cold, and I waited for something to make sense. It didn't. By Monday morning, I had already made up my mind. I couldn't keep pretending. I couldn't carry the weight of the secret without it breaking me. But I still couldn't bring myself to tell Jake. I told myself it was to protect him, but maybe it was also because I didn't want to hear the sound he'd make when I said the words out loud. I didn't want to be the one to destroy his world. So I started with Mark. He was in the kitchen making coffee. I sat down across from him, silent. He didn't even look up. Just said, "Morning," like nothing was wrong. I watched him put almond milk in his cup. He never used almond milk until Lily brought it over the first time. I almost laughed. Almost. I waited until he took his first sip, then said, "How long have you been sleeping with her?" He blinked. He didn't say, "What?" He didn't ask, "Who?" He just froze, like a robot whose wires had been crossed. That was all the confirmation I needed. "I found the messages," I said. "On your tablet. You didn't even lock it." He set the cup down slowly, like he was trying to pretend this was some normal, boring conversation. "Amanda," he said, and his voice had that low, calculated calm that made me want to throw something. "It's not what you think." "Oh, really?" I said. "Because I think you've been fucking an 18-year-old girl. One who calls me mom. One who's dating our son." He flinched. Finally. "But still," he said. "It's complicated." "No," I snapped. "It's disgusting. You're 47 years old, Mark." He stood up, walked to the sink, and stared out the window. Classic move. Coward's move. He didn't deny it. He didn't even apologize. He just stood there. "How long?" I asked. A long pause. Then, since January. January. That meant months. That meant all those family dinners, all the movie nights, all the times I asked Lily to set the table while Mark grilled burgers. I felt physically ill. "And Jake?" I asked. "Does he know?" He turned to look at me then. "No. God, no. I would never." "You already did." I cut in. "You already betrayed him in the worst way possible." He walked back to the table, hands up like I was about to attack him. "Amanda, listen." "No," I said. "You listen. I want you out. Amanda. Today. Let's talk." "I'm not talking. I'm done talking. You leave, or I swear to God." He stared at me for a moment, his jaw clenched. And then he said the most infuriating, heartless thing he could have said. "You've been distant for years. You barely look at me anymore. What did you expect?" I swear I blacked out for a second. That level of gaslighting was so obscene, it broke something in me. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just stood there, walked over to the coat rack, grabbed his keys, and tossed them out the door. "Get out." He did. I sat on the floor after he left, cried into my knees, shook for a solid hour. I texted my sister to take Jake for the night, told her I was sick. She didn't ask questions. Thank God. I spent the rest of the day going through everything. Mark's phone bills, credit card statements, emails. I don't know what I was looking for. Proof. Punishment. I found hotel charges, Uber rides, DoorDash orders to addresses I didn't recognize. It was all there. Not just betrayal, but carelessness. Like he didn't think he'd ever get caught. That night, Jake came home. He walked in all casual, talking about some stupid TikTok video Riley had shown him. I nodded. I asked how school was. I smiled. I wanted to die. I couldn't keep it in any longer. We were sitting on the couch. I turned off the TV. He looked at me, confused. "Jake," I said. "We need to talk." "Okay," he said, already suspicious. And then I told him. Not all the details. Just the truth. That Mark had been seeing someone. That it was someone Jake knew. That it was Lily. At first, he laughed. What? That's not. What are you talking about? But I didn't break eye contact. And his face changed. He stood up. No. No. That's insane. He wouldn't. I handed him the tablet. He stared at it. Opened the chat. Scrolled. Stopped. Scrolled again. And then he screamed. I've never heard anything like it. A wounded animal. Something primal. He threw the tablet. Punched the wall. Collapsed on the floor, sobbing so violently I thought he might throw up. I didn't touch him. I just sat beside him and cried too. Eventually, he stood up and said, I need to go. I asked where. He said, I can't be here. I begged him to stay. He didn't answer. He grabbed his backpack and left. I called my sister. Told her everything. She drove over, tried to find Jake, eventually did. He's staying with her for now. He won't talk to me. Not even to say goodbye. And Mark, he texted once. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. That was it. No apology to Jake. No attempt to explain. Just a single cowardly line. And Lily, she's posted selfies. Smiling. New necklace. Guess you probably bought it. I feel like my entire life just cracked in half, and everyone else is already stepping over the rubble, acting like I'm the one who set off the bomb. I don't know what to do next. There's a moment after everything explodes where you just live in the ringing silence. That was my house for the next few days. Empty but loud in all the wrong ways. Every room felt haunted. Every dish in the sink looked like evidence. I kept expecting Jake to burst back in, demanding that I fix it all, demanding that none of it be true. But he didn't come back. I tried calling. I texted. Please talk to me. I love you. You didn't do anything wrong. Nothing. Left on read. That hurt more than I expected. The guilt started eating me alive. It didn't make sense. I didn't cheat. I didn't destroy anything. But somehow I was the one holding all the shattered pieces, the one everyone looked at like I dropped the bomb. Mark didn't come back either. He was staying with a coworker, apparently. He texted once asking for a few of his things. Gym clothes, his watch, his stupid Bluetooth speaker. I packed them all up, left them on the porch. No note. No eye contact. I didn't hear from Lily at all. Not even a fake apology. But I started seeing her name pop up on social media, friends tagging her in party photos, Snapchat stories showing her laughing, dancing, living. As if nothing had happened. As if my family wasn't lying in pieces while she moved on untouched. Then came the real twist. A week after Jake left, my sister called. She sounded hesitant, cautious. Hey, she said. I think you should know. Jake invited Lily over. She's here. Right now. I sat down. Everything inside me dropped. Are they? I didn't even know what I was asking. I don't know, she said. He's not talking. He told me to stay out of it. I just thought you'd want to know. I hung up and sat there for maybe 20 minutes. I wasn't crying. I wasn't even angry. I just felt numb. Like my entire nervous system had shorted out. What do you even do with that? Your son, still reeling from the discovery that his girlfriend was sleeping with his dad, invites her over a week later? Is it denial? Desperation? Some twisted attempt at control? I didn't reach out. I couldn't. If I said something, it'd make it worse. If I didn't, I felt like I was abandoning him. There was no right move. Just damage control. Or maybe just waiting for the next aftershock. That Sunday, Mark showed up unannounced. I opened the door to find him standing there with a weak smile and a duffel bag. He looked tired, older somehow. Like the scandal had aged him by years in a week. Can we talk? He asked. I didn't answer. Just stepped aside. He came in like he owned the place. He sat at the table, like he always did. Like nothing had changed. I stood. I miss Jake, he said. I want to make this right. I laughed. Loud, sharp. You miss Jake? You miss the son you betrayed with his own girlfriend. He winced. I didn't plan for it to happen. That's the problem, Mark. You didn't plan. You just did. You acted like a horny teenager and blew up a 20-year marriage, a family, a kid's life, because what? She gave you attention. He looked at the table. I'm not proud of what I did. No, I said. But you're still doing it, aren't you? Silence. You're still seeing her. He didn't answer. That was the answer. I crossed my arms. Why are you here? I thought maybe we could talk. Maybe we could fix it. That made me angrier than anything else. The sheer arrogance. The belief that I'd be so desperate, so broken, that I'd take him back just because he showed up and asked nicely. I leaned in. Do you love her? His eyes flicked up. For a second, Something real flashed across his face. Pain. Regret. Lust. I don't know, he said. I stepped back. Well, that tells me everything. He stood up. Amanda, I messed up. But I still care about you. I care about Jake. You cared more about your dick, I snapped. He opened his mouth to say something else, but I beat him to it. You need to leave. And this time, don't come back. He left. I sat down and shook, hands trembling, heart racing. I wanted to scream, but there was no one to scream at. Just me, alone, surrounded by walls I used to hold a family. I started getting messages that night. From friends. From neighbors. From people I hadn't spoken to in months. Hey, is it true? I heard something crazy about your husband. My daughter said Lily's been talking. Talking. That's one word for it. Turns out, Lily had been telling people it was me who ruined the family. That I drove Mark away. That I never liked her. That I spied on them. That I was jealous of their connection. The narrative flipped on its head. Suddenly I wasn't the betrayed wife. I was the villain. The bitter old woman who couldn't handle her husband falling for someone younger. I couldn't believe it. And the worst part, some people believed her. I got cold shoulders at the grocery store. Passive-aggressive comments in the PDA group chat. A mom from Jake's school even said to my face, I mean, maybe if you'd been more affectionate, this wouldn't have happened. I wanted to scream, but I just smiled, said nothing. Because if I opened my mouth, I wasn't sure what would come out. I was starting to lose my grip. On reality. On perspective. On myself. The truth didn't seem to matter anymore. Only the story. It's a strange thing, when your world falls apart, but life around you keeps going. The trash still gets picked up. The mail still comes. The neighbor still waves at you when they mow their lawn. But you're not there anymore. Not really. You're floating somewhere above it all, watching the version of yourself that existed before try to keep moving like she isn't falling apart inside. I went back to work. What else was I supposed to do? Sit in the kitchen and stare at the place where Mark used to read the paper? I lasted 4 hours before I had to sneak out the back and cry in my car. And the worst part wasn't the crying. It was that no one even noticed I was gone. I used to think I had a good support system. Friends, coworkers, neighbors. But when everything fell apart, most of them fell silent. Or worse, pick sides. Some believed Lily. Some believed me, kind of. Quietly. With sympathy eyes and I'm so sorry whispers in parking lots, but never out loud. Never publicly. Because siding with the angry wife meant being pulled into a mess no one wanted to acknowledge. One of Jake's teachers even emailed me, saying she hoped I was seeking help, and that trauma can affect parental decisions. I didn't even know what to do with that. Was she implying I was the problem? That I was unstable? That I might hurt my son? I started avoiding everyone. Skipping events. Canceling plans. I became the woman people whispered about at grocery stores. That's her. The one whose husband left her for the girl their son dated. I even caught one woman saying, honestly, I don't blame him. She always seemed tense. Tense. I spent 20 years cleaning up after a man who didn't know how to put a toilet seat down. I hosted every Thanksgiving. I made lunches. I reminded him to call his mother. I carried everything. And now people think he left because I was tense? I stopped responding to messages. Even my sister, who had been kind enough to take Jake in, started hinting that I should consider therapy and focus on my own healing instead of being stuck in anger. I wasn't stuck in anger. I was anger. But even that started to fade. Anger, as exhausting as it is, at least gives you energy. But grief? Grief is stillness. Grief is a wet blanket on your entire life. I found myself waking up at noon, forgetting to eat, rereading the same texts over and over, waiting for someone, anyone, to just say, you're right. This is insane. You're not crazy. But no one did. I started wondering if I was crazy. Maybe I had made too much of it. Maybe Mark didn't really love her. Maybe Lily was just confused. Maybe Jake would be okay. Maybe I was cold. Maybe I had failed. That's when I did something I still don't fully understand. I called Mark. I didn't plan to. I was lying in bed, the TV playing some dumb crime show in the background, when I picked up my phone and dialed. He answered on the third ring. Hi, I said. My voice sounded small. He didn't say anything at first. Then, hi. I didn't know what I wanted. Closure, clarity, comfort. I don't understand how you could do this, I said. I don't either, he said. But I did. And I'm sorry. Are you still seeing her? Pause. Yes. Silence. Then I asked something I hadn't let myself say until that moment. Are you in love with her? He didn't answer right away. Then he said, I don't know. But I care about her. It was like hearing a glass break from inside my chest. She's a child, Mark. She's 18. That's not the point. He sighed. I know. I hung up. The next day, Jake came home. Just walked in like he hadn't been gone for weeks. Said he needed to grab some stuff. I stood in the kitchen and watched him move through the house like a ghost, grabbing clothes, a backpack, a charger. He wouldn't look at me. Are you okay? I asked. He shrugged. Are you still seeing her? He stopped. Didn't turn around. I don't know. My heart sank. Jake, she lied to you. She lied to all of us. She said she didn't mean to, he said. She was sleeping with your father. He turned then. Eyes red, voice shaking. You think I don't know that? I backed off. He grabbed his stuff and left again. And just like that, the house was empty. No Jake. No Mark. No laughter. No arguments. No slam doors. Just me and the silence. Again. I started sleeping on the couch. Couldn't stand being in the bedroom alone. Started leaving lights on. Started talking to myself. Out loud. Like if I stopped, I'd disappear completely. I looked at old photos, vacations, birthdays, Christmas mornings. And the worst part, you could see it. You could see it. The way Mark looked at her. It had been there, right in front of me. And I missed it. I think part of me didn't want to see it. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you know, you can't pretend anymore. It's been a month since Jake left for the second time. A full month of silence. No calls, no texts, not even a single red receipt. I know he's alive. I check in with my sister, who gives me brief, clipped updates. He's okay. He's doing schoolwork. Still quiet. That's it. It's like I don't exist to him anymore. Mark hasn't reached out again. I assume he's still with her. Lily. That name makes me flinch. It used to just be a flower. Now it's a wound. I don't even say it out loud anymore. Sometimes I wonder if they're happy. If they're in love. If it was worth it. Did they win? Did I just become the necessary casualty so they could live their twisted little version of romance? I've stopped trying to get people on my side. The more I tried to explain, the more it sounded like I was unhinged. Bitter. Petty. Like I was some angry woman who couldn't handle getting older. They wanted a story, and Lily gave them one. I heard from someone, one of Jake's classmates' moms, that Lily told people I always hated her and tried to ruin her relationship with Jake out of jealousy. She claimed Mark was the only person who really saw her, that they were meant to be, that it was all inevitable. And now, they go out in public. There are pictures. At a restaurant. At the movies. At a damn pumpkin patch. They don't hide. At first I thought, how dare they? How could they? But now I wonder if I was the fool for expecting shame. I tried to write Jake a letter. A real, handwritten one. Pages and pages. Telling him I loved him. That I never wanted to hurt him. That none of this was his fault. That I was sorry for everything. Even the things I didn't do. Because that's what mothers do. They apologize anyway. But I couldn't send it. Because what if he read it and just threw it away? Worse, what if he didn't? What if he read it and still chose them? The truth is, I don't know what he believes anymore. The hardest part, I think he blames me. Maybe not just for telling the truth. Maybe for letting it happen in the first place. For not noticing sooner. For letting Lily into our house, our family. For being so trusting. For not being enough. And I get it. Some nights, I sit up and replay everything. Every detail. Every smile between them. Every laugh that lingered too long. Every time I handed Lily a plate, or my favorite sweater, or the Wi-Fi password. Was I blind? Or was I just tired? I think about the day they met. Jake brought her home after school, all nervous and proud. She smiled at me like she'd known me forever. Mark laughed too hard at her jokes that day. I noticed, even then. I just didn't know what I was noticing. I remember catching a look between them once. At dinner, she made a joke, and he smiled in a way I hadn't seen in years. She laughed and touched his arm, and I remember thinking, that's weird. But I buried it. How many weird moments did I bury? And if I hadn't, if I'd said something sooner, could I have stopped it? Was I the one who let this happen? The question's been growing inside me like a tumor. What if it was my fault? Not the affair. Not what they did. But the silence that let it grow. The comfort that made it easy. The marriage I stopped tending. The parts of myself I stopped showing. The distance I built without realizing. Did I let the rot in? That's the hardest part. Knowing you did everything right on paper. Cooked, cleaned, loved, supported. And still, somehow it wasn't enough. You played the part and still lost the game. I used to think there was justice. That if someone hurt you deeply enough, the world would eventually right it. That karma would even the score. That if you stayed good and honest, you'd be okay. But sometimes the villains win. Sometimes they walk into a pumpkin patch holding hands and smiling while you sit at home crying into a bottle of wine and talking to no one. Sometimes your own son disappears into the fog with the people who destroyed your life. Sometimes you never get the apology. Not from him. Not from her. Not from the people who chose their comfort over your truth. And sometimes the silence is all you have left. I don't know how this ends. Maybe Jake comes back. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe Mark and Lily crash and burn. Maybe they get married and have kids and send me a Christmas card like psychopaths. I don't know. All I know is this. There's a version of me that still wants to believe people are good, that justice is real, that pain is temporary and families survive. But there's another version now, a quieter one that knows better. And I don't know which version of me will win. Not yet.